Thursday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every single weekday, we're coming at you live from our studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. On today's show, we are discussing many things, one being the U.S. economy, credit default risk, and what does Bitcoin and crypto do if that happens? We're going to discuss a little bit about Polkadot. We also have a special guest in studio, Ernest Lee from Decrypted.tax. He'll be answering all your questions of how to maximize your gains and pay the least amount of taxes you possibly can. He's also going to give us some insight into the world of proof of reserves and some VC investing as well. And so we're excited to have him join us. He'll be joining us on air in about 20 minutes. But who is joining us now is none other than your other co-host, and his name is Big Rob.
Kind of dramatic there, huh?
Yes.
Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where other channels claim to take that old, boring, and stale information.
Who claims? Throw some names out there.
You know I ain't gonna put nobody on blast. Come on. But we deliver. That's all I'll say. And we do what Vegas does best, entertainment capital of the world. Well, with that said, is Bitcoin
Bitcoin's not over 26.
No? 25,000?
It is over 25. Yes. We'll get into that. But before we get into that, let's get into this. And by this, I mean our channel sponsors. Let's start with Cam's Blue Wire Technology. They've been our longest tenure channel sponsor. We appreciate them. You should appreciate them as well, as they can help you with your networking, your IT, and your cybersecurity. Those are things, in my personal opinion, I just don't even know or have time for. So I want to focus on making money for my business. So I use Cam's Blue Wire Technology to handle all that for me. If you want more information on how they can help you and your business, visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Also, today's show is brought to you by Radix, our newest channel sponsor. Radically different. I keep saying different. It is different, but it's also it's better as well. Radically better DeFi. If you want to learn more about Radix, you want to play in their sandbox, you want to download some of their software, their wallets, visit radixdlt.com or click the link in the description of this video. We will be having their CEO on around the Babylon upgrade, so we're very, very excited for that. And we're also very, very excited for, I believe Robin found some. Couldn't find any funny videos today. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, so I'm hoping, Rob.
What's up?
You got something in your back pocket.
All right. So yesterday you opened up with the bowling video. So I figure, why not do one myself? So mine doesn't involve little kids. Well, maybe the extension.
Well,
I'll let it speak for itself. So we got.
What the hell is that?
Just watch. So you got the guy. He's trying to get the bowling ball to. There we go. Go underneath the legs. No. So yeah, there's that, and then well,
that was a good idea.
You know, in homage to the bear market crash, we have
you say
what
homage?
Yes. So this is what it's like to be a crypto investor at the height of the market. Oh, you gotta riding that wave, and then you're done.
You remember the Jackass show?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that? Did you like that? Those
Not
guys
really.
are crazy.
Yeah, I feel like they were starving for attention just to like blow up their balls or something like that. So it was it was like a fad, right? It was like how much pain can you endure on camera, and then
They did get a couple movies out of it too.
They did, yeah,
they did.
But I think that whole thing's done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember when they like had all the spoofs of scary movies for like 4 years? Then they finally stopped all that. Now it's
back to just regular spoofs.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of spoofs, there was a spoof at stake.com, the leading crypto casino. They were hacked for $41 million, and we have found the culprit. It is none other, well, according to the FBI, North Korean hacker group Lazarus. Apparently, they are behind the $41 million crypto theft. A lot of people and a lot of the articles, when we covered this, had the word alleged hack in there. And I forget who I was talking to someone, or someone DM'd, we're DMing on Twitter, and they just thought the timing was weird, and they kind of referenced it to stakes, some of their sponsorships and channels they sponsor, and I just wasn't buying it. But either way, the $41 million hack, apparently, according to the FBI, the Lazarus Group in North Korea was behind that. That is part of the reason why the OFAC, the government and OFAC decided to ban Tornado Cash because, well, groups like this who siphon money out of the market, who hack, these protocols, they use those mixer services to be able to kind of get rid of their footprint and not be able to get traced. And so I don't know. Any thoughts on this, Rob? I know this is pretty straightforward, but
Well, there's always this growing narrative that North Korea is benefiting from crypto, or at least that's what certain politicians that are anti-crypto are saying. So more ammunition for that, right?
and you bring up a good point because that is their main thing. They're saying, hey, North Korea, they're using all this crypto money that they're stealing to fund their missile program. And so they're trying to tie that to why crypto shouldn't exist.
But
I don't think that's fair.
do you think it's at all hypocritical? And the reason I say that is the U.S. sanctions Russia and a host of other countries and take money out of bank accounts and then use it for their own military, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to side with anyone there, but I'm just saying that
Are you a North Korean operative?
I'm not North Korean, but would you ever visit North Korea? I'm just
No.
curious.
Hell no.
No?
Hell no, bro. You crazy?
I heard they got good street food there.
Okay.
I think it's
anyways,
actually all street food.
just stop. Just stop. That's terrible. What's happening there is not funny, actually. All right. Let's move on to Mexican billionaire. That's he only holds Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, and well, let's hear what he has.
In the liquid part of the portfolio, I now opted to, I basically just have Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, 4 or 5 miners, and some oil companies, and some gold miners. That's it. In the liquid part of the portfolio,
He looks so happy, man. I'm telling you.
It does.
You think it's from the Bitcoin gains? What do you
Definitely
think?
from the Bitcoin, yeah. No, it's from Bitcoin dipping the.
I don't know. They got strong coffee down there in Mexico. I'm just saying, might have something to do with it.
What is wrong with you?
I'm just saying, man. Good coffee plus a healthy portfolio.
That was random.
Happy man.
There you go.
Uh,
Matter of fact, I need some coffee and more Bitcoin.
so Rob, there's some people who are vocal about holding Bitcoin. Do you think there's equally or more people that hold it that just don't say anything? We know the light, and we're going to get into the
Talking about closet holders.
closet holders. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna talk.
I think that's called a hanger. I'm on one today, bro. How you doing?
I know. Rocco,
Rocco?
take that Red Bull away from me, Rocco, please.
It's sugar free. Have no fear.
That's definitely not sugar free. That has sugar. So
It does
exactly.
have sugar.
What-
Oh, you're screwed now, bro. Wait till
This is
can is done.
this is also the guy who thought he grabbed a Celsius but grabbed a Truly.
Yeah, I went to the gym on that one. I was just like Celsius is not hitting hard today,
Because it was Truly, not
This
Celsius.
carbonated malt liquor beverage was.
What question did I ask you?
I can have no idea.
Oh, do you think there's equal or more people that hold Bitcoin that just aren't talking about it?
Equal? No, man. Here's the thing: people like to flex. Have you ever met somebody that has a
But
whole
Bitcoin is not sexy.
Have
right
you
now.
ever known somebody that has a whole Bitcoin that it doesn't tell anybody about it? I guess that would be the premise. If they don't tell anybody, you wouldn't hear about it. But
Well, it still kind of has a bad reputation, so to say, amongst the traditional macro people. You have some of the most successful investors, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Dan Pena. They all publicly speak out against it. And so they might just be like, hey, I'm not going to say anything, but I have X amount of Bitcoin or, X amount of Ethereum or crypto, whatever they hold.
I think high net worth individuals that are board members that perhaps are taking a stance against the company's mantra, sure. But that's got to be such a small percentage of people. That's got to be such a small amount of Bitcoin that people like to brag about what they're holding, right? If you're holding millions of dollars worth of gold and you're at a dinner, you're gonna tell somebody. At least I would.
Well, we know you would.
Yeah.
You're very loud.
You're right.
Robin, why don't we show some love to our community here, and then we'll move on to the macro.
All right. So if you are new here, say hello so we can drop that hola back at you. Not too many new faces today, but I do see Captain Cheesecake.
I love cheesecake.
What flavor cheesecake you going?
Apple cheesecake's pretty bomb.
Is that even a flavor?
Never heard apple cheese.
All right. So,
Robin.
so to all of you that
you weren't okay. Never mind.
So all of you that are new here, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we're about a 50% like ratio, so do us a favor, hit the like button so we can get this thing going.
Back.
Yeah, we did get the
All
sound
right.
effects. Yeah. So there you go.
All right, guys. So today's theme of the show, we're gonna talk a little more macro than we typically do, because as we know, macro does tie into, well, not just the overall economy, the health of the average American, speaking in America here, of course, but also affects Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so I have a picture I want to paint for you. And this is something that a lot of macro analysts that are a lot smarter than me, that are a lot smarter than, in fact, you watching, and they've put out warning signals. And so let's start here. So it's tweeted from the Spectator Index. New York Post reports Americans are defaulting on credit cards and auto loans at the highest levels since the financial crisis. We had talks of a recession. And then the Fed came out and said, nope, never mind, recession's canceled. But according to factors,
They canceled it?
they canceled it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cancel culture, you know? According to metrics and previous data that's been used to identify recessions, well, those don't apply anymore. Like yield curve inversion, 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, which we had last year. Those things are out the window. We have a new definition of recession, and well, this recession does not fit that definition. We also have this United, kind of in line with defaulting, United States debt balances on auto loans. That is at a 25-year high. We have,
I was looking for a pickup truck because I just wanted to
it's
old-
ridiculous.
I
dude.
wanted an old beater, right? Just a beat up pickup truck. And so the ones from like 1998 were still over 6 grand, 10 grand.
That's ridiculous.
And I could not find a single pickup truck that was under $5,000. No matter what kind of condition it was in.
Robin, that is $1.6 trillion
An auto loan debt?
auto loan debt.
I mean, are you surprised? We saw the inflated prices of used cars during the 2022 era, right? Where you were basically incentivized to buy a new car and then turn around and sell it for profit. It was one of the greatest flips ever, right? Why buy a house when you can just buy a car and then just take it right over to the Auto Mart or whatever it is?
Well, now you can't afford either, which is
It's true.
not very good. Then we have U.S. debt balance on credit cards, and of course, that is at 25 and also all-time highs. And let me actually change this to a column chart here. So that is over. We just crossed over $1 trillion in credit card debt. We also have credit card delinquency. That is also taken up. That's been going up since Q3 of 2021. And we are reaching pandemic levels. We're reaching pandemic levels, not as high as we saw back during the great financial crisis, which was right around 6.77%. But we're getting closer. We're at 2.77%. Credit card debt, we know, as inflation started rampaging and people started paying more for gas and more for groceries. I don't know about you, Robin, but my family of 5, my wife does not leave the grocery store without spending at least $200 at the very bare minimum. And I'm talking just protein, milk, eggs, bread, lunch meat, and like some fruit. That's not including if you want snacks.
Barbecue chicken pizza?
Barbecue chicken pizza. That's not including that. That's not including apple cheesecakes.
Well, you know my life hack, bro. At this point, I refuse to grab a shopping cart. So I'm the asshole in the grocery store, which is just like this. And then I'm standing in that long line of people to get to the register, and I'm just like praying that you hurry up or give me enough space to use the conveyor belt. But that's what it's come down to, man. Yeah. Especially at Costco's the worst because all their products are big. I'm just saying, it's a good way to save money. What are you giving me crap for, bro?
Anyway,
Did you see? There's also another life hack. Who was it? Somebody in the chat was saying that they're going to. It was French Toaster says I'm going to drive my '07 Honda Civic as long as he can.
Hey, man. More power to you, brother.
There it is. Look at that sexy beast.
Honda Civics are great cars. I'm a Toyota guy myself. I love Toyotas. I actually just bought my wife a Toyota.
Yeah.
2 months ago, yeah. The Mazda I had was causing more headaches. I finally got done paying it off about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and well, every 6 months a new cylinder goes out.
Hey,
So-
Dave, where did you buy your new Toyota? At Walgreens?
Yes, at Walgreens. Yeah, that's where they. Yeah. I'm happy we have Ernest here next to me. We're gonna bring him in camera here in a second.
This is why I take advantage.
Yeah, because he can see what's going on here between these two guys. They gang up on me all the time, man.
I see it.
So I need you on my side, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Rocco, why don't we bring up Ernest on camera? That way people know. So, guys, this is Ernest. He is from decrypted.tax. We're going to be discussing some stuff about tax and what I mentioned at the top of the hour. He's going to introduce himself. He drove down all the way from Utah to come join us in studio to give you guys some great information. So first and foremost, thank you so much for making the drive out here, my friend. We really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
So in the 20 minutes that we've been talking, who's your favorite co-host? Is it me or Robin?
I think the jury's still out on that one.
Wow. I thought we had an agreement here, man.
Great opening question, David.
Thank you very much.
Great opening question.
We will be discussing more actual conversation here with Ernest in a little bit, but I do want to continue with this tweet from Wall Street Silver. Credit card and car loan defaults hit 10-year high as inflation squeezes families. We have this from the Kobayashi letter. Guys, this is probably my favorite account to follow from Macro. Highly, highly, highly recommend you guys go follow. And I'll leave the Twitter handle up here for a quick second. Since the Fed started raising rates in March, a record $862 billion in bank deposits have been withdrawn. $860 billion in bank deposits. The previous record, $70 billion. And that was during the great financial crisis in 2008. That means that around 12 times the deposits leaving banks in 2008 have been withdrawn in the last 1.5 years. Guys, couple that with the amount of unrealized losses these banks have on their balance sheet due to the Fed hiking the interest rates up so high. Man, and I understand that you have that Fed facility that you can borrow money from, right? The Fed will essentially front you the money so you don't take an L on your treasuries because people want to take money out of your bank. But guess what that's doing? That's putting more debt on the balance sheet. That's bringing more money back up. We're going to look at the M2 money supply. It was going down. That thing is going back up. And so are we going to see what we saw in the 70s? Inflation peak, comes down, the Fed takes the gas off the pedal, and then bam, shoots up to 20% inflation. That remains to be seen. Moving on, all while the regional bank crisis led to the second and third largest bank collapses in history. Let's talk about Silicon Valley Bank and I believe it was First Citizens. Higher rates are changing the world. And here is just a visual representation of deposits leaving the bank. Look at this, bro. This is kind of crazy when you look at it, right? This is going back to 1973. 1973. Look at that.
Well, you got to take into account inflation. So if you go back to 73, there wasn't as much money in circulation or supply or bank accounts. So I'm curious on what percentage of
Bank deposits
have left versus physical dollar value. But it doesn't discount the fact that people are fleeing banks at a breakneck speed.
They're fleeing.
Have you thought about the fact that just fintech has evolved and you now have more options? I mean, if you are, say, 22 years old and you're getting your paycheck from your employer, you have so many options now. In the past, in the 90s, 2000s, you had two options. You could either go to the check cashing place down the street or you could deposit it into a bank account. Now you can have it sent to some third-party app that offers a debit card in the mail, has no banking infrastructure at all. They just simply transact money digitally, and that's about it, right? We've gotten into an era where money is essentially turned into zeros and ones. It's just digital. And so you don't really need the brick and mortar traditional banking system to transact money anymore. And I think that not only is the younger generation not adopting the banking, but I think that people like ourselves, people that are 30, 40, 50 years old, I think that they're just saying, hey, why am I still dealing with the banks? It's an outdated system. They refuse to upgrade. And then you start seeing one by one banks just straight blowing up. And so I would ask myself, why am I keeping my money there? I think a lot of other people are saying the same thing.
I agree. Where's that money going? Is it going to Bitcoin?
Some of it, yeah. I think it's just it's a diverse set of new institutions and assets as well. Yeah. And then not to mention people just losing savings, right? I think the average savings now is under $1,000 for the median American.
And student loan debt hasn't even started back yet. So
Hmm.
I did mention money supply. Here's the M2 money supply, guys. We were ticking down back from September of last year, and we are starting to go back up. If we take a look at the 10-year, again, we saw a cliff right around mid or the beginning to mid 2022, came back down, and now we just continue to add money on the balance sheet, and we continue to add more money into the system. I do want to one key thing to remember here, my friends, is there is no debt ceiling until 2025. So that was part of the legislation that was passed. No debt ceiling. So the Fed is free to give as many loans as they want to banks. The government is free to print and spend as much money. All the while, people around the world are dumping US debt.
I wanna just kind of interject on this conversation and just kind of speak on what does this mean to crypto? Why are we discussing this? Why, well, this is obviously a crypto show, and we've spent half the show talking about macroeconomics. Is because at the end of the day, you have essentially two options of where you can keep your money or your capital or your savings. You can keep it in the traditional fiat system, which, as we were alluding to, essentially is broken, right? And or you can have a privatized money. That's essentially what crypto is. It's money not controlled by the government, but created by the people, and it is an alternative to the fiat that we have. And so at some point you got to ask yourself, because as the private sector grows and the inflation grows on the public side with government issued fiat currency, you got to ask yourself, where do you feel comfortable keeping your money? Because we've seen the printing, the flight of capital going abroad to Ukraine and every other objective that a politician has when they're going for reelection. This is scary, and you're seeing this play out in real time. At least back in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, your inflation crept up at somewhat of a crawl. Now it's your housing prices are doubling every 8 to 10
Well, I think the
years.
70s and 80s was a bad example because that's when we had the massive run up on inflation. But typically, yeah, I agree. It's been slower, but 70s and 80s were pretty bad.
But not to the level that we're at now.
We're at 20% back in the early 80s, bro. Like, that was when stagflation. That was when Paul Volcker raised the interest rates up to about 20%. I know what you're saying. I'm saying the decade wise, but I totally agree with what you're saying. It's always been a slow bleed, and that is what the government wants, right? They want you to borrow money. They want you to leverage debt to be able to grow the economy, and that's part of the economics that governments rely on. But continue. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's essentially it right there. I mean, you're gonna have to make a decision at some point. I mean, you can use both services. You can keep fiat. And, obviously, fiat is easier to transact. At least it is right at this moment. I do think that businesses are going to transition to a hybrid where in the same way that when credit cards or say debit cards really came into fashion in the 90s, you really had checks, you had cash, and then you had some places take checks. And then little by little, companies started offering Visa and American Express and MasterCard as payment options. And it didn't all happen at once. It didn't switch over in a day or a week or a couple years. This took time to essentially onboard businesses. And I think that crypto is going to do the same thing. You're going to get we discuss it on our show constantly. Oh, at this company, a new company, this large company is integrating crypto. And I think that at some point in time, before you know it, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, 15, I don't know. But at some point, majority of the businesses around the world are going to offer payment through crypto, and you're gonna have an option of whether to transact and keep your money and value in either traditional fiat or in crypto. And I don't think that it's gonna be the crypto people out here just echo that fiat's gonna go down and that's it. There's no more. Everything's gonna collapse. Maybe there's some truth to that. I think more realistically for me, I think it's going to be a transition. And I think that you're going to have options, and the private sector is going to gobble up uh, a lot of that market share. And there's going to be a lot more incentives to use privatized money than it is to use the fiat money. We see what is going on in fiat currently.
I think you used a very key word as options, right? Back in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have an option. There was no outlet. There was no opt out. Now we do. And as crypto continues to gain momentum, as it continues to become integrated in people's everyday lives into the current banking and payment system, guess what, guys? You won't have to just spend your time in fiat. You can spend your time in crypto and blockchain. Speaking of crypto and blockchain, let's get into the markets. But first, today's market segment is brought to you by channel sponsor I Trust Capital. If you want to enjoy your gains in retirement tax free, there is one company to set up a crypto Roth IRA account with, and that is the leader in our space, which is I Trust Capital. We did do a standalone video. Make sure to go check that out after the show. Kind of talk about the history of the company, the importance and safety, the transparency, and what you can invest inside the platform. So big shout out to them. Also, if you use the link in our description to sign up and fund your account, you get a free $100. Now, Robin, crypto, where's it at?
All right. So we got Bitcoin coming in at $25,853.74. You can see a nice little move in the 24 hours. But when you look at it the week, we are pretty much just consolidating, trading sideways, not too much movement. I think that we're going to be hanging out here for a while, at least until this Bitcoin ETF plays out. I do think that.
Which you think October?
I think October is the time. Which we're in September. That means it's only 1 month away. Now, taking a look at the zooming out to the 1 month, you can see that we did pull back to 25. I think this is a healthy consolidation. When you take a look at, let's just take a look at the 1 year, for example. And I don't think that this is anything to feel too dramatic about. I think people are stressing out this pullback a little bit more. So I think it's just natural. If you take a look at the markets, you go from 22,000, we stepped up to 26. Hey, we got up to 30,000 for a few weeks, and well, back down to 25. I think it's a good consolidation. This is something you would like to see for a large run up. And I think it's timing out pretty well for the Bitcoin spot ETF, and also the upcoming halving, which is what is about 6 months away now at this point. So about a half a year away. So 6 months away. They got the halving ETF coming up next month, hopefully, and healthy consolidation that is setting 25,000 as a super strong.
222 days, 5 hours, 14 minutes, 40 seconds.
222 days.
Yes.
A lot of twos in there. All right. So taking a look at
There it is.
the biggest gainers, you also have A Star up 7%, Render up 6%, IOTA, GMX as well. So just three altcoins in the above 5% range. And then taking a look at some of the biggest losers on the day, not too much red. You got Synthetics, Sweet, Flare, everything else is just down less than 1%. So a little bit of a healthy day in the alt markets. I think everyone's just kind of on pins and needles, just waiting to see what happens with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going,
and also the FOMC is back this month.
What do you think you think anything?
I think we're gonna get a pause.
I think so. I think inaction is going to be what we're going to get.
Yeah.
Taking a look at, since you pulled it up, taking a look at the CME Fed Watch, we are at 93% likelihood of a pause. We're basically in action, where there is still a little bit on the raise a rate again at 0.25. So
See what the number is when the CPI number comes out.
Yeah, now this has historically moved, so this is not stagnant. If they get the CPI number, it is something that would typically lean into raise rates. You could see this flip, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. Right. All you got.
That's it.
All right, guys. Let's not waste any more time. We've had our special guest patiently waiting, sitting right next to me. So let's go ahead and introduce him, Rocco. This is Ernest Lee, guys. He is from decrypted.tax. Ernest, can you tell our viewers who you are?
So I'm Ernest Lee. I've owned businesses all my life. I started a tax practice that did work for private equity back in 2005. And after working at Deloitte in London, I moved to Seattle and now down to Florida 2012. I started another tax practice that does taxes for rodeo professionals. Um, and in 2020, I had been investing in crypto for a couple of years, and I learned a lot in private equity by learning from clients in private equity. So I started taking on clients that had crypto related activity, and you learn a lot when you can see behind that curtain. And I run an investment fund now. We invest in a lot of things, but crypto is a large percentage of our investments right now. And we do taxes for folks that invest in crypto.
Awesome. And guys, before I ask Ernest a question, I want you watching to ask some questions in the chat because we're going to pick one, maybe two questions from the community and ask Ernest. He is a tax professional. This is something that's completely out of our wheelhouse. If there's any questions you have, maximizing your tax contributions, whatever the case may be, throw them in the chat and we'll pick some of the good questions and ask. Now, Ernest, you mentioned Deloitte, right?
Deloitte, right?
Deloitte. That name rings a bell to me. That is who Coinbase uses for their audits.
It is.
You saw what happened. I know you said you kind of invested, you were in crypto since 2020. So you've been through the whole FTX and Binance, and FTX went under. Everyone started doing proof of reserves. And then, like, a few of them said, nope, we're not doing it anymore. Can you shed some light on how that works and how it was at Deloitte and the importance of having a company like Deloitte still sticking around and, maybe speak on that in general?
The importance of having a public company that like a lot of the public companies work with public accounting firms. A public accounting firm to do your audit is that you have that disconnect. You have to prove your reserves. You have a separate auditor that comes through, and there's several levels of audit. I worked primarily with the tax audit on the audit side when I was working at Deloitte, and it's just really important to have a team that is not vested in what you're doing that will certify your audit.
Okay. You also mentioned investment firms. And I know we were
Yep.
kind of talking off camera. Said you found some stuff out, right? You learned their ways, or can you maybe expand on that on air?
Sure. Well, when I worked at Deloitte, I worked at the U.S. tax desk in London, and I did a lot of work for private equity firms. I learned how they buy companies, build them up, and resell them, package them, resell them. I worked for a firm that did that with a lot of healthcare companies in the early 2000s, and I learned through lending. I started lending money to folks back in 2005 in my investment fund, and I grew it. We did a deal with Starbucks, for instance. We bought a lot of espresso equipment from Starbucks, resold it on the market all over the country, all over the world, really, and that grew my firm. It's 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 interesting doing taxes for companies like that, private equity firms. You learn how they move money around and how they make money by moving it.
Okay. I'm going to jump right in. I think, who was it? Flat Smack had a really good question. What do you do if you get scammed or have your Bitcoin stolen and they want to tax you on it?
Well, you give us a call because I've had a few clients that have had that issue, and we can ordinarily write that off. Um, if you get scammed, if you've lost money to any of the scams or even any of the exchanges that have gone under. We take a pretty aggressive approach to that at Decrypted.
Okay. Um, okay, let me see what else we have here. Are any crypto gains from bankruptcy actions taxable? I feel like you kind of answered that question. Um, how surprised will new small traders be with their capital gains threshold on taxation exemptions? That's from Indie Rock.
The capital gains uh, on crypto is treated just like most other capital gains. It's treated as property for U.S. federal income tax purposes. So you have a holding period just like you have a holding period with any other investments.
Okay. I want to take a pause from the chat and I want to ask you about this. So we talked about this yesterday. Um, FASB's crypto accounting shakeup could lure more corporate investment. And so I know I briefly brought this up, Ernest. Can you kind of break this down for us? Uh, I was thinking it was extremely excited, or I was extremely excited about this. You had the likes of Michael Saylor and people coming out and saying, "Hey, this is what is going to give the people, the institutions, the ability and the want to now hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet." Why was this accounting decision so important, or is it just a no biggie and people are overreacting?
Well, if you take Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy for example, they hold Bitcoin. They currently, or well before this FASB, they were able to they had to write down their crypto when it became less valuable, but they couldn't write it back up when it became more valuable. And why that's important is because that hits their P&L, so that's their earning statements, which drives investors to buy shares in MicroStrategy.
Okay. Rob, do you have any questions for Ernest?
Do I need to file taxes every year?
You absolutely do need to file taxes every year. And I get a lot of clients who haven't, and it's not that difficult to get people in line and get their taxes caught up, and we regularly do that. The worst I had was I had a client who moved to Mexico City 30 years ago. He moved back to the States to retire. He was a U.S. citizen the entire time. He never filed his taxes. He applied for a loan, and they asked for his taxes, and he got under the radar of the IRS. We got all his taxes filed, and he didn't know anything. I took that case pro bono just so I could brag that I got somebody out of 30 years of taxes.
So, what would be an ideal if you were to counsel someone on um, taking the least amount of tax hit or exposure? Basically, I don't want to pay a lot of money in taxes. What would be the best strategy? Would it be just buy in chunks? Because I know some people saying buying in. I've heard some people saying that doing the DCA, you're gonna have a lot of you're buying Bitcoin at a bunch of different prices, and then you put it all together into one pool. It's hard to identify what your purchase price would be. Is it better not to sell at all? Like, what would be your ideal situation to take the least tax hit when it comes to getting exposure to crypto?
Hiring a good professional, I don't want any professional, not me, somebody else. Hiring a good professional that can go through and specifically identify the crypto that you've purchased, because there's you can do last in first in first out, highest in first out, or specific identification. Specific identification is the one that is really going to make sure that you're identifying the crypto that you want to say that you sold, and to minimize your tax liability as a result.
Gotcha. Okay. Guys, I do have Ernest's website pulled up here. And so I'm going to throw this on the screen, Ernest. You want to talk about, if people want to find, people want to use your services, where they
Yep,
can contact you. Also, I heard you have something special for our community as well.
I do. Decrypted.tax is the website. You can go on there. There's a couple different levels depending on how much trading you do, and you can sign up. You can sign up for a free consultation. If you do, you'll get me. I'll walk you through it. You can sign up on the website, and during your initial consultation, just mention Sun City Crypto, and you get a 25% discount from the fee.
Cool. 25% discount. Oh, we got double Ernest. All right. Rocco, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. I do have a question. It's related to NFT. I guess partially it was answered. And my question is, if you have an NFT from the past cycle, and that's pretty much is worthless,
Yeah.
but you don't want to sell it yet, so like a loss. Now, can you do something about it, or just declare it as a loss or something like that?
With NFTs, you're not going to be able to do anything until you sell it. When you do sell it, we can write it down. But whereas with crypto, there's a lot of things you can do. You can sell it, you can buy it back. There aren't any tax wash rules for crypto like there are for stocks or commodities. So you with NFTs, it's a little bit more difficult.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you very much.
No
Appreciate
problem.
Awesome, man. Well, Ernest, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. Thanks for making the drive
Thanks.
down here, man. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
You're dressed very well. You're dressed better than both of us. I'm curious. Did you do that on purpose?
I was actually traveling and I didn't have a
You got
jacket
no
with
blazer
me.
on, bro. Relax.
I I went and I got a blazer last night at where'd I go?
You didn't go
Oh,
on the strip, did you?
I did not.
Thank God.
I was up in St. George, so I went to Dillard's. I
Hmm.
have to
Smart
admit it.
man. Don't go in the casinos, forum shops, Miracle
Yeah.
Mile
No,
shops. They will
no,
destroy you.
they'll get you.
Yeah, they'll get you.
Dude,
Awesome.
I had I was meeting some people and had I can't even say it without it like sounding bad, but I had an accident and it was something
God.
spilled on my pants.
Goodness.
But
Sure,
anyways,
Robin. Something.
anyways,
spilled on
I
your
could
pants.
not find a pair of pants. I needed slacks for less than $500, bro. I was like,
That's terrible.
man,
No.
That's not
like
even fun.
nothing less than $500.
Well, next time, don't have accidents. Anyways, Ernest, thank you so much, man. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on again, man.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, let's move on to. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Rob. We haven't talked about Polkadot in a very long time,
Mm.
and I saw this article. I'm like, talk about Polkadot. Polkadot 2.0 and the future of Dot, which is their token, and this really, really cool car. What is that? What kind of car is that? Is that a Mercedes? Anyways. What is Polkadot 2.0? Initially announced in June of 2023, Polkadot founder Gavin Wood, uh, initially announced in 2023 by Gavin Wood, the new network will change the way Polkadot assigns its resources. Wood said Polkadot 2.0 would use a new system for allocating block space. The system would be more flexible than the current lease model, allowing developers to buy block space as needed, either in bulk or in demand. This, according to the crypto network developer, would make it easier for new projects to enter the Polkadot system. Previously, it was through parachains and auctions, and you had to give up or you had to stake X amount of dot. It was sometimes it got up to millions of dollars. So now it looks like you're taking a different approach. Are they grasping at straws here? Is this a dying chain that they have to make this mass level of change to be able to attract users and developers into their ecosystem, which is very interesting. You know why? Because consistently on daily active users and developer activity, we see Polkadot on the top of that list. So this gets me to question if those numbers that we see, those charts, that data is even correct. Because if you're among the top of the crypto projects that have the most amount of developers building on your protocol, you're probably not going to have to make a change like this, right? What are your thoughts on that, Robin, before I move forward? And is
Yeah.
Polkadot a dead chain to you? What are your thoughts on Polkadot? We
I
haven't talked about it in a while.
I wouldn't say that. This still has a thriving community. But if you want to, Rock, you want to pull up my laptop here? If you want to take a look, you got this is Polkadot versus, and this is in the last 12 months, Polkadot versus Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, you're taking on more risk holding Polkadot versus Bitcoin, at least in the last, say, 6 months. And I don't see that flipping anytime soon. So I think that why buy Polkadot when it's just Bitcoin's outperforming that pair now? But it's not just Bitcoin as well. Ethereum is also outperforming. So if you're going to go with a layer one smart contract platform, Ethereum's outperforming Bitcoin in the last 6 months as well. But nah, that doesn't mean that all altcoins are overperforming or all top altcoins are overperforming. If you take a look at Cardano versus Polkadot, the two have moved in tandem. Both of the founders of Polkadot and Cardano both came from the original devs at Ethereum. So it's a good comparison. You can see, hey, they both left and started their own chains, and they're both trading pretty similarly in the market right now. So I wouldn't expect neither Cardano nor Polkadot to outperform Bitcoin or Ethereum within, say, the next 6 months, in my personal opinion. But I think these are things that you might want to DCA into now while it's a cheap value if you believe in the project long term. Uh, Not the strongest supporter of Polkadot. I just feel like their ecosystem can be a touch confusing to the Bitcoin community or into the crypto community. But they do have a lot of devs. There's a lot of people building on there. There's a lot of those parachain auctions that have
Are they?
very familiar names.
But
on
are
there.
they? That's what I'm saying. They're changing they're changing the way they allocate block space to attract new developers.
Yeah, I mean they're still underperforming the top assets, Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? And so if they want to make up ground, they gotta market their way, or they gotta change their roadmap in some form, right? You got to stand out from the crowd, because if you're going to offer a similar product as the other 10 top altcoin layer, the layer one smart contract, smart platforms, you want to offer a similar product, you got to stand out in some kind of way, right? But what makes Polkadot stand out? I mean, myself personally, all I'm going to tell you is that they got a parachain auction. I don't even know what the hell that is. I'm honest. Like, I don't even know.
Just what
We've been doing this show for 2 years. I still haven't figured it out.
That's
What
what
the
it
hell is a
sounds like.
parachain auction?
That's what it sounds like. You want to be a parachain, you got to put up money.
That's
You got to bid.
I understand the concept. I just don't understand the execution, and I don't understand how that benefits the end user versus the traditional business model that does not involve parachain auctions. What makes parachain auctions, what makes that business model that much more effective and enticing to the end user to use their platform versus someone else? And that I can't tell you. I can tell you how they bring on dApps and plug into their ecosystem. It's fundamentally different, but I don't know how the hell it works. And damn it, I got my own damn crypto show, man. I've been doing this for 2 years. I couldn't imagine somebody over here trying to explain. Like, can anybody in the chat explain what Polkadot does to me?
Yeah, it's a chain of chains.
There you go. I'm not trying to hate on Polkadot. I'm really not. I just would like to see them stand out amongst the crowd. I'd like to see them offer an incentive for the user to come on, because I feel like a lot of the other layer ones have something they can tout and say, hey, this is what makes us unique. This is why you should use our product. I'm just not getting that vibe from Polkadot.
And just kind of finish up on this article from Cointelegraph. Presently, parachains function akin to fixed CPU cores within the Polkadot supercomputer. However, the upcoming system will allocate resources like relay chain security flexibility, responding to real-time needs. So this kind of sounds like the miners in Texas, right? Hey, you can plug in, but we need you to unplug. We're going to unplug, right? We're going to pay you for the space that you're not using. So here, instead of paying an exorbitant amount of money for these parachains and using up block space, or if you're not using block space, you're still paying the same amount of money. It's like a pay as you go, right? Another significant change in Polkadot 2.0 revolves around a strategy for core time allocation. Core time signifies the time needed for validation and consensus on the relay chain. In the new version, core time will be purchasable as block time. This will be achieved using an auction. They just love auctions, huh? And as a pay-as-you-go model with fixed price. And so it sounds like Polkadot might be too expensive. And so, and guys, I'm not a developer. I'm not in the Polkadot ecosystem. I'm just using my common sense, the knowledge I currently have upstairs. And I'm looking at, okay, why would they do this? Obviously, people think it's too expensive. So they're like, hey, listen, we know we're kind of expensive, so you can just purchase as much time as you need. Instead of renting the studio, you can rent it by the hour. You only want to come 2 hours today, only pay for 2 hours versus pay for the entire month and use it whenever you need. I don't know. To me, I'm not a big fan of this, but I used to be kind of bullish on Polkadot, but I don't know, man. I haven't seen real ecosystem growth. Like I mentioned, we see the daily active user and the developers are building on. We see those numbers. Polkadot is towards the top, but Is it? Is it really? I don't know. Are you bullish on Polkadot? In the chat, let us know. 1, if you're bullish on Polkadot. 2, if you're not bullish on Polkadot. Also, Robin, would you like to say hello to some of our community members?
We did. I didn't see too many new people, but we got Crypto Tatted Zach, Dusty Square Design, BitMac as well, and Anxiety to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
That's right. All right, I want to go over this one as well here, Rob. This is from the Biebs.
The Biebs?
Justin Bieber. How Justin Bieber fans stand to earn royalties from a new NFT song or a new song NFT. So we talked about NFTs yesterday with Misting Crypto. Damn, a lot of 2s, huh? Not bullish on Polkadot. Yeah, I'm a 2 also. I think Robin's a 2 also. Ooh, Flatsmack said Polkadot is a new EOS. That's crazy. All right. Justin Bieber fans can now buy one of 2,000 NFT versions of his song Company to earn 1% of royalties from each stream. Music tech platform Another Block and co-producer Andrea Schuler will create the NFTs. Schuler, who is also known as Accident, will sell its share of the streaming revenue since it owns the song's rights. So essentially, if you're one of the 2,000 holders, anytime this song Company from Justin Bieber gets played, you earn money. Is this a use case that you are intrigued by, Robin?
So
Revenue share.
So the song is called NFT?
No, the song is called Company.
Oh, okay.
And you can buy the Company NFT, and anytime the song gets streamed or played.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way of funding. It's a good way for emerging art. Like Justin Bieber's not going to need to generate capital to release a track, right? But he's in the very, very small percentile of creators in the entertainment space that can just, that can raise the money to come out with a song. So here, if you're an emerging artist, you can say, hey, guys, this is my music. Check it out. You like it? Cool, you do. Well, hey, why don't you buy an NFT that represents ownership in the song? And in turn, it can help me market and promote the song myself. And every time it gets played, you get a cut of the royalties. I think it's a very interesting business model. Will the SEC come after that? It's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's
you're earning money off the.
But I mean, is it any realistically? Is it any different than going to venture capital or going to a recording studio and saying, "Hey, I am a musician. I'm an artist. I would like to, generate some capital," and you get a host of investors. Doesn't mean it has to be publicly traded to buy into your company. You raise money, and then you come out with your CD, and then obviously the investors take a cut from there. That's a solid business model. But as soon as you start tokenizing things and into a blockchain and selling them in that way, the SEC tends to rear its head into these business situations. So I think if we had a little more clarity from the SEC, we would see this being done or being in practice a lot more. Because I think it makes sense, right? I mean, if I was a musician and I didn't want to sign up with a recording artist that takes 40 to 80% of fees, because they take a lot of the revenue for the young artists. Like the Spotify, I think they give you like pennies for thousands of plays on your song. And I mean, how much money are they generating off of the subscription services? And how much is the end artist getting? It has to be less than 20. It has to be less than around 20%, right? It's some form, or at least for certain artists. And so to generate capital by offering an NFT, I think makes sense. And I think that's something we're going to see more of. I just think with the SEC, it's going to slow down the whole adoption process until we get clarity from them.
That's the big thing, right? And that is why I was so excited about that accounting thing yesterday. We finally have some clarity. Like, just give people the rule book and say, here's the rule book. Go do your thing. But we can't get that from the SEC because they just want a gray area so they can continue to sue people. Now, what's not a gray area, and it's actually a green area because we're very happy, is our channel sponsors. So when they give so I do want to give one last shout out to Cam's Blue Wire Tech. Visit bluewiretech.com if you want to learn how they can help your business scale, grow, some of the important things like cybersecurity, networking, and IT solutions. Also, I do want to give one more special shout out to our newest channel sponsor, and that is Radix. Radically Better DeFi. I said different DeFi. I said better this time. Radically Better DeFi. They're our newest sponsor. So big shout out to them. Thank you for all the support. And also to you watching, thank you for all the support. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Big thank you to our special guest, Ernest. Also, guys, go follow us on Twitter, @SinCityCrypto1. If you want to support the channel, there's plenty of ways to do so. Also, Rocco.
Ready? Okay, let's do it.
You're wondering that was a finger tornado, Ernest. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's an absolute pleasure to spend
so
this
proud of
Thursday with you. Come back tomorrow for Forest Friday. We love you guys. Till tomorrow.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO